What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Just back at the office, man. Thank you. Anyway, back at the office. I was gonna do an update video yesterday. That didn't work out. I had a little eBay situation I had to take care of last minute. Took care of that. No worries, man. It's all about customer service, you know. Anyway, things have been great. A lot has been going on, man, behind the scenes, man. I was on a incredible podcast yesterday, and I'm really looking forward to that coming out. Really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. It's incredible, man. The production level is insane, and just a great crew. You know, they got a really good thing going on, and I'm really looking forward to them grow. So once that's out, once I'm able to share the content with you guys, that's coming, man. That is coming. I'm so impatient right now. A little giddy, right? A little giddy. I think out of all the videos I've done, I never really talked about my last sponsor and my experiences with sponsors. This is going to be like an educational video, like, hey, go get a sponsor, you know, because everyone has their own way of getting clean, getting sober. There's a lot of different ways to get clean and sober, right? Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, smart recovery, like Buddhist type recovery meetings, like so many things, man. Also, just staying abstinent from your drug or drink of choice, you know, or medication of choice, or food of choice, etc., etc., etc. The first sponsor I had, it was in the first treatment center. They took us to outside meetings. I eventually met this guy. I met him at an AA meeting. He had quite a few years of sobriety, right? So I think it was on Sundays, this guy would come over. We would start doing step work, right? Doing some reading out of the AA book. And the more I spoke with this guy, the more I realized I really didn't have anything in common, aside from the fact, you know, we both had addictions to something. Both of us had something that took over our lives. Other than that, we really didn't, other than like the good rapport we developed, like friendly wise. Other than that, you know, I really wasn't feeling him, and I highly doubt he was feeling me as well. When you're working with sponsors, right, when you're working with anybody in recovery, you tend to share stories, tend to share things going on in your life, things you've done, and then, you know, you talk about it, right? The reasoning behind it, different outcomes and all that stuff, right? So the more I shared with this guy, some of the feedback I was getting, I guess, really wasn't what I was going for. Like, I don't think what I was saying was resonating with this guy. Long story short, I broke up with my sponsor, right? I fired him. Had to let him know, man. It was super awkward. I felt like I was breaking up with the girl. You know, it was super awkward, man. I had we'd go to meetings every morning at 6:45, and you know, I pulled him aside. I'm like, hey, man, you know, I appreciate the time you've invested in me. This isn't gonna work, you know. I didn't want to sugarcoat anything. You know, this isn't gonna work. So I had to let him know that he could stop coming on Sundays. And I told him why. So that was that. Fast forward some time, right? The last rehab I was at, got there in 2018, December 2018. Maybe a couple weeks, 3 weeks after that, they took us to outside meetings. And the guy behind me was an older black guy from Chicago. He was in the Korean War. Old dude, right? I would hear this, I would purposely sit in front of him or you know, a couple chairs away from him because I loved his freaking stories, man. Eventually I walked up to him and I appreciated him, let him know my dad was in the Army, and I just gave him his flowers, as they say, right? I gave him the utmost respect, let him know how much I genuinely appreciated his stories, straight up. So I eventually asked him to be my sponsor. So he would come over to the rehab. That rehab, I would sit next to him at the meetings, the outside meetings, at the AA meeting, sit next to him. We would talk for like 15, 20 minutes after, and then they would take us back to the rehab. He would go to the rehab and we would do step work together. As time went on, I only got up to the 5th step. You know, I did my 4th step, and then I met up with him and we talked about my 5th step. I also forgot to mention, when I was in rehab, like the last month I was there, they allowed me to take a course at the University of Arizona, and that's where I got my recovery support specialist certification. So on the day of graduation there, the ceremony, right, once I completed that program, we could have family go over, and I invited my sponsor, and he showed up. Great guy, man. Just love the dude, man. Super, super cool guy. So fast forward some time, right? I get out of rehab. We still keep in touch. He had a meeting that he would go to on Thursdays, so we went to that meeting quite a bit every Thursday. It was in the evening, like at 7:30 or something like that. Met him there. After the meeting, we would just chop it up, man. Just talk, see how my recovery was going at the time. I would tell him about different relationships I'm in. I could just talk to him about anything, man. I could talk to him about anything, and I could tell he wouldn't judge. He wouldn't be blown away. You know what I mean? Like the other sponsor, I would tell him my stories, and he would just kind of stay quiet, like, damn, this guy's crazy. But I don't think he met a lot of people that were on opiates, heroin addicts like myself. When you're addicted, man, you're in straight survival mode. So you do some of the craziest things just to get, you know, a little bag of dope. But with the sponsor, you know, the black dude, right? Awesome guy, man. Love the guy. Anyway, fast forward some time. Shortly after doing my 5th step, he ends up getting pneumonia and dying, right? Passes away. I haven't had a sponsor since then, you know? Every once in a while, back then, I would go over the steps and do them in a way that I think he would like, right? In a way that he would want. That's not officially completing the steps, but as far as I got in the legit way, I got to the 5th step. That's as far as I've ever gotten. I've also worked in a treatment center, right? I've talked about that quite a few times. A lot of the kids there would ask me to be their sponsor, but I had to tell them, man, like, I've never completed my steps. And one of the requirements to be a sponsor, as far as I know, is you have to complete the steps and at least have 1 year of sobriety. But I told the kids, right? I told the young men out there, you can give me a call anytime, man, which they've done, which they still do. I'm still in touch with some of those kids, man. That was an amazing job, being a life coach at a rehab. Just giving back, sharing my experience, right? So just wanted to tell you guys that story, man. Like, I never completed the steps, man. I started this channel to share my story, share my experience, and that's what I'm doing. Hopefully these messages, these videos are resonating with you guys. So thanks for listening, man. I'll be back soon, all right? Take care.